So, hello everybody. Thank you are here. I'm going to talk today about a kind of magic, about the things that everybody, adult, senior businesses wants to have it. Some of them have it, and some of them is working. I'm going to talk about ERP systems. I'm not really sure, but I expect that in your business, internet business, you are used to working fast, do small, fast projects. Your customers are doing fast decisions and expecting the solution available immediately. The ERP world is a little bit different because everything in that part, everything takes time. You are 2 years thinking about the ERP system implementation. You need it or don't need it, is really the right time, so on. Then you spend 1-2 years to select the right solution and the right provider of the solution. Then you spend another 2 years to implement it. And then you spend another 2 years to recover from the past implementation. And then you can start the cycle again to think about the right solution. So, please let me mention that some of my comments or what sentences will be a little bit extreme. Not all what I am saying is in 100% situation truth, but I think you are able to manage it. So, who I am? I am an IT guy with some of skills, knowledge. I spent 10 years on the supplier side. I have started as a office, project office administrator. Then I went through development, analysis. I finished as a project manager. Then I moved and I spent another 2 years on the customer side. I used to be CIO of Datart, which is electronic retailer. And I used to be head of shared service center, IT company or group who deliver services across the Europe for financial group that was owner of Datart. Last 2 years, I have my own business, my own company, Blue Dynamic. We do ERP implementation in retail in Europe. That's me, to understand who is talking here. Before I start to talk about ERP, I would like to mention some, strategic decision and concept and framework. I think if you are a company who has a needs, you can decide for development from scratch. You develop some special solution which is special for you. It's a custom development, and you can also decide to use something prefabricated, some package, out-of-box solution, which could be the ERP system we implement. You can also decide that in the center of your architecture will be ERP, and it will be the main system. And almost everything will be inside. Or you can decide that there is some kind of enterprise bus or framework, and you use special system for POS, you use special system for order management, for CRM, and HR, and so on. If you decide for the development from scratch, you usually have flexible solution. The changes are faster, and so on. If you decide for ERP system, you have already a lot of things developed, but if the system is robust, which is, it takes some issue, it's complicated, it takes time to develop something, and so on. You can also decide for everything in one, or you can have more systems. If you have one system, it's complex. If you have more systems connected together, you have issues in integration, and you have issues where is the truth. I remember the board meetings in one company. The discussion was about margin, the main important KPI of retail, and almost whole meeting was about what is the right figure, because the logistic guy brought information from one system, finance guys from other, purchasing department, sales department for other systems, and they discuss which figure is the right one. They spent the meeting and they left, and no business decision was done. ERP system is a set of functionality you integrate together, and the functionality covered almost all the business needs you have. If you look at to some statistic, you can see that about 80% of Fortune 1000 companies use some ERP systems, some big ERP systems like SAP, Oracle, Infor, Dynamics AX. So it's a quite complicated, robust solution. If you look at to the Dynamics AX and focus on the retail, you can see that it covers almost everything. Depends how good, but the question is how good it covers. But the functionality is there, and you can use it and you can have it. If you work, you have in the system you have thousands of tables. In the system you have thousands of classes. So the goal of the developer is not to find the best algorithm and best solution. The main goal is to find existing solution which is as close as possible to the request of the analysts or business, and to use it and a little bit modified. That's the goal that the developer have to do. Of course, the same is for the analysts. So we can say that the ERP is something like Minecraft. So there are some limits. So if you build something, there are just boxes. So you can decide it that you build airplane, but you have to understand that there are limits, and the airplane will be built from boxes. So it's maybe, I don't know what do you do, but I think it could be maybe a little bit different work than you do something for scratch and something small. The goal, the main issue is to understand how to use something in AX and how to use it smartly, and then to decrease the cost, speed up the time to market, and avoid trouble during the maintenance and upgrade. Of course, maybe it's the same in your world. Of course, as a developer, you have to be able to do some algorithm. You have to understand object-oriented programming, but the main goal is to understand the classes inside. What is maybe important to say that SAP and also Microsoft, because of the ERP, it's a quite complex and difficult system, and its problem and it's too generic. They decided to develop some vertical solution. For SAP, it's a normal. They do it for years. For Microsoft, it's quite new. I don't know, last 3 years. They develop a vertical solution because they realized that to have a too generic system is not maintainable, and customers doesn't accept that. Because if they decide for prefabricate solution, the expectation is that the solution will fit their needs. If you come there and you say you spend 20 million for licenses, and then you spend another 40 million for customize the existing solution, it's always an issue. Because the people, when they are buying the ERP, they are expect that it works like Office or Word or Excel or something like that. It will be immediately ready. I hope there is somebody here who knows World of Tanks, and who knows that you know that there are light tanks without armor or with a small armor, and there are heavy tanks, they are slow, fat, let's say, the big armor and so on. And if you play the game, you have to choose the right strategy. If you are light tank, you have to do something else than if you are heavy. And the ERP is something like the fat German tanks. They are really small and moving slowly, but do some kind of background and hold the company. That's I would like to describe that the system is complex, which is great because you have a lot of functionality there, but it's also a danger because you have to somehow handle with the functionality as a user and as a developer because when you start to change the system, when you start to change the core, it always generates trouble. There is a lot of ERP systems, and we can say there are three groups, big, medium, and small. I am now here and I'm talking about Dynamics AX, which is the big ERP system, as well as Oracle, as well as SAP, and maybe less known Inform here in Czech Republic. As I mentioned, this big ERP system is implemented almost in 80% of big companies around the world, and as you can calculate, these four players, they have 60% of the market share. Unfortunately, we do Microsoft Dynamics, which is just 9%. On the other side, there is opportunity to grow. Maybe what is interesting, that the history of SAP has started in 1970. History of AX under Microsoft label has started in 2002. So I believe, I hope, because otherwise I have a trouble to pay my mortgages, that the reason why the market share is so slow is because the AX is young. So AX didn't have time to have bigger market share, and also, as I mentioned, the big enterprises are quite conservative and slow. So for them, the AX is still a new system, not clear if it is good enough for them, and so on. So they in almost all implementation, you are covering a risk. The decision maker, the company, would like to be ensured that they choose the right partner and right solution. So that's also a reason why they focus on SAP, because it's less risky, less new for them. I believe you know Gartner Magic Quadrants. Magic of these Magic Quadrants is that you have many Magic Quadrants, and in many times there is a different leader in the different position. So I find one where AX is as a leader, so it's in good quadrant. So what I said is that AX is new, which is bad for selling, and which is good for developers, because an implementation, the solution is fresh, modern technology, and so on. As I mentioned at the beginning, in ERP world, the time is running very slow. And here you can see some statistic about duration of implementation. We can say that in average the implementation is 2 years, and probably nobody will be surprised that the real implementation is longer than was planned. That maybe it's not different in your projects and these big projects. To give you some idea, some taste how big the projects are, you can see these figures. Again, yeah. If you look at the Microsoft, the average price of the project, it's about 40 million Czech crowns. If you look at the Oracle, it's a little bit more, 65 million Czech crowns. Of course, this is an average, because my experience is that I saw a project that costs 3 million Czech crowns, and I also saw AX implementation project that costs 300 million crowns. It depends, and it's strange. For me it's strange, but it's quite spread. The situation where you can use AX is one store and thousands of stores, and in both cases you can, in some situation, you can use AX. again some demonstration how progressive, flexible is the ERP business and ERP area. I don't know how is it in cloud in your business, but cloud is quite, I don't know, sexy now. Companies moving there and so on, and here you can see that in the ERP it's not so important part, 30% just cloud, the rest, the 70% on-premise solution. The decision makers in the companies are conservative, and you can see it also here. I was talking about ERP. So how to summarize it? What is the ERP category like AX or SAP? It's a really big solution, and you have to be a really adult company. Big, when you have to be big enough to spend the money to survive the implementation, to use or to utilize all the functionality that is in the package. Now I would like to move from the solution for the system to the customers who need it and why they need it. The ERP implementation is a quite big change, and you have to have reason for this change, because as I was trying to describe, it's quite painful projects or implementation. Usually you are thinking or you are implementing ERP system when you have to, there is no other choice and you need the change. You are overloaded, you are set up, you don't have any patience for, I don't know, calculating again, some manually some stuff, or positively, you have new customer, your business is growing fast, you are opening new offices or stores in new countries and so on. Usually when you implement the system, could be, and you are not able to do it manually. You can, if you have 100 invoices, you can do it with one accountant. If you have 200 invoices, you hire another accountant. And then you realize at the end, when you have 40,000 invoices, you realize that you don't have enough space in your office, and it doesn't make sense to continue with some stupid manual solution. So you are starting to think about a new system. Another situation, you somehow, as your business somehow start as a small company. You implement some small solution from a garage company, I don't know, somewhere from Ostrava or something like that. I'm sorry. That was we are now talking with some customer. They have a solution which is not good enough, and the producer is from Ostrava. So sorry if I say something wrong. Okay. So and you are growing. You are using the system, and in one moment you realize that the producer, the company, the supplier is not generating the innovation, and not on the but the opposite. You are pushing the owner of the company to do some new version, to implement some new function which are quite common in the retail and so on. You realize that there are two guys only who understand the system, and if they disappear, your business which generate billions of crowns will be in the trouble. So this is also a situation when the system is bottleneck and you have to do some change. It could also happen that your business is running well, you sign new contract, as I mentioned, you open new brands outside the Czech Republic, new investor appears, invest money and expect some results, doesn't trust financial results from no-name system and so on. It's also situation when you have to, or you are thinking about change and thinking about some serious adult solution. And also spaghetti, if you do some system, you do a lot of development, the system is old, you realize that the maintenance is quite complicated. You do some change in that area and the trouble appears around the corner and the maintenance is difficult, complicated and slow. It's also a situation when you decide or are thinking about new ERP. The needs you have must be really serious because the budget or the costs of ERP implementation are quite big. You are going to implement ERP, so we are talking about 20 million Czech crowns. The real costs are 30 million. Then you have to calculate some internal costs, would be 5 millions. Then you have to calculate some losses because the people are focused on the ERP implementation instead of the business, another 5 million, and you are losing some opportunity on the market because you are dealing with the bugs, issues and problems with ERP, and you lost again some millions. So at the end it's a quite big figure, and it's not only what you pay the supplier and what you pay for licenses is just a part of the costs. So you need really serious issues or troubles that you decide to implement it. And of course you have to calculate that the return of investment, it's 2-3 years, something like that. It's not immediately, it's not in months. And so it must be serious, because if your only pain is that the accountant department is able to do it, but they have to finish the work at 5 Friday instead of 3. It's not motivation for the owners to implement a new system. If I see some opportunity in our CRM and the opportunity has these parameters or similar parameters like this, it always sounds good for me, and I think we can sell the ERP for this customer. So you have turnover around million Czech crowns, you have enough employees, 200, 300 employees, you have more stores than 10, 20, 30 stores. You have a big warehouse where you have a lot of issues with goods and SLA. And if you operate in more countries, it's a really perfect situation. As I mentioned at the beginning, the ERP, the AX is quite flexible. If you will have time and you will be at Příkopy, there will be open new store, Hemley's toy store, which is 350 years old company, and they are going to open new store in Czech Republic. It's just one store, and they have AX. For one store doesn't make sense, of course, but if you expect some expansion, some growing, it's good to start the business with big ERP systems. So it's one example. On the other side, you have 950 stores in UK of wholesaler or retailer, and thousands of employees, and you can also, in that area, you can also use AX. If you decide to spend money, you usually have some reason for that, and you have some expectation. So the same here, and the decision makers has some expectation when you are going to implement ERP. I found one survey, and what is interesting, you can see that many of the expectations are connected with processes, efficiency, to have things under control, to be sure, to monitor, measure. So something something internal efficiency, like internal efficiency of processes. What I personally saw during my ERP life, I saw these reasons for implementation. What is strange for me a little bit is that there are many words that are not good defined, like controllability, predictability, quality, standardization, improvement, reduction, and so on. It's for me, it's not really clear and not good defined. And my personal feeling is that the decision makers has some feeling that it's time to improve the business, and they believe that the ERP will help them. Because if we, in our methodology, sales methodology is part that you have to collect the business needs. In project management methodology is that you have to define the goals of the project and so on. And if you try to do that, it's usually academic work. Nobody is interested in that. Nobody wants to do that. The decision makers has sixth sense feeling, I don't know. They believe that it's time for ERP, and they are decided to implement the ERP. That's my personal experience. What happened at the end is that just 20% of ERP implementation projects succeed in more than 50% of benefits, which could be bad. On the other side, if the benefits are just artificial work and they believe that it helped them and the company is continuing the business and improving the business, it's on the other side, it's good. I've been talking about ERP, about customer, and now how to deliver the system to the customer. My personal experience is that there is only one area which is less predictable and maybe more complicated than IT and in civil engineering. The delay and extra cost when you are building a house are I don't know, it's more complicated, less predictable, longer delay, and bigger costs than in IT. But IT is the second area where this problem to succeed with the projects. And maybe one of the reasons why the ERP projects are not successful in every cases is because the projects are complicated. And I think if something is complicated, it's difficult to succeed in the end. It's always better to do it step by step, start with something smaller and so on. And if you look at the ERP implementation, it's 40 million crowns, 2 years duration, thousands of man days, many people, many suppliers, other external suppliers, integration, all company involvement, because usually impact the whole business, not only just one department. Company is big, has some own processes which is used to doing, and so on. It's not flexible, so on. And all that I think generates the problem that the projects usually are not successful. Of course, we have to try, and you have to do the best to do the project successful, and you have to use all the tools you have: project management, methodology, steering committees, and so on. Something what you probably know very well. I would like to mention 3 things that I find important for ERP projects. Of course, there is many other things you have to take care, but I would like to mention just 3. As I said, ERP is something where it's a box where is thousands of functionality. if as an implementator, as a supplier, if you are able to explain customer that they change their processes and they will use the solution in ERP, you succeed. If the customer is strong, doesn't want to change itself, and is asking to convert the ERP existing solution, their previous solution, to follow their processes, it's always a big risk. Because it will never be, the AX will never be like the previous systems. The AX will not be work correctly if you change the core of the system and the core functionality. And of course, the maintenance and upgrade, it's big issue when you completely customize the system. So for us, it's important to implement the standard. And of course, it's also important because of the price, because the negotiation about price is always tough, and you are able to implement standard if it's cheaper than to customize everything, it's clear. As I mentioned, the projects are complex and big. It's really important, and the leaders, I don't know, leader of architect, leader of migration, and so on, the guys, they are responsible for some area, they must be really senior with experience. Otherwise, you spend 3 months working on something, because analysis could take 6 months. So you can spend 6 months to analyze something, and at the end you realize that you cannot use anything from that, and you are in big trouble. You need really strong leaders to take care about all the project, to have a big picture, to understand the context, and keep the things working together. The first was to use standard, second was the right people on the important position, and the third one is the relationship with the customer. This project, the ERP implementation project, will be always in trouble, will be always more expensive, will be always longer, and the expectation will not be followed and will not be fulfilled. So you will be all the time, you are handling with crisis. And you can survive the crisis only in situation when you have a good relationship with the customer. When you are talking with him, you are having a coffee, you are having a lunch, you are play anything you want with him. I mean sport. You need to build a relationship. And of course, you need to build a relationship also on the highest level with people that they are not personally and daily involved to the project. Because when you have a trouble on the project, the people they are every day in that, they don't have right distance, they are in emotion, so we have to find a solution somewhere outside the project team. So it's really important to talk with the leaders, CEO, owners of the customer. Even you do that, only 10% of projects are successful. So it's terrible. Of course, this is maybe a very tough KPI, because it's saying if the project is takes long time, the budget is higher, and the scope is not delivered as was promised, the project is not successful. So the situation is not black and white, but it's again the statistics present us that the IT project general are not easy to handle, and the relationship is needed to hold it and cover the problems. Till now I was talking theoretically about ERP implementation. I would like to now mention the Datart story. Datart is an electronic retailer in Czech Republic. I believe you know him. Let me talk a little bit about his history, because it's a good example. Datart has started as a garage company. The two guys were selling TDK audio cassettes from the car, and now after 25 years they generate billions of Czech crowns and have 40 stores. and they are important player minimum if we are talking about the brick area and not about the pure internet players. Datart, during his life and his evolution, he did some road. The Datart business or Datart IT has started as a small IT and internal application in Fox Pro. Then Datart decided for ERP system Dynamics AX, and everything was included in the system, and after some time some functionality was covered by special, more oriented on some area, more professional, I don't know, fine-tuned tools for something. So they moved from all-in-one solution to solution to have more system and integrate them. What also happened in the IT was that they have only internal IT without any supplier. Then they use a lot of suppliers during implementation of ERP system. They moved the IT to a shared service center, and at the end they are now having just small internal IT. So they did some circle. To go a little bit more to detail, as I mentioned, it was at the beginning it was a small garage company, 10 people in IT, everything done at home, from servers, network to the development in Fox Pro. One guy has everything in his head, was able to immediately do changes in the system. When somebody asked for something tomorrow, it was in the production environment. Of course, there was no analysis, no test environment and acceptance and so on. There was nothing like that. Depends, question mark, if it was good or not, but that was the situation. Then the company was growing, they were opening more stores, and was bought by financial group, and the financial group, of course, was asking for some standard solution. And because SAP implementation failed in Netherlands in that time, they decided for Dynamics AX to avoid risk. That's, as I mentioned, also important part in the decision process. Don't to disturb the business, don't to do wrong decision. Not good decision, best decision, but not wrong. So they decided for implementation AX, and one supplier in Czech Republic was found. Unfortunately, the project was in that time was the biggest AX implementation in Czech Republic, and as I mentioned, AX is quite young. It's also suppliers are quite young, so the supplier didn't have idea about the project management and I don't know, documentation, testing, and so on. And it was for them, I don't know, first big project. And also the results was as you can expect in that situation. From 1 year implementation, the duration was 2 years. The functionality was not really good. There was terrible business losses in tens of millions Czech crowns, and so on. So it was quite tough time. The positive side of that was that the internal IT, it means we in that time, we could took ownership of the system, body shop some specialist from AX on the market, and start to maintain and develop the system. Because the supplier was not, I don't know, mature enough to do that. So we did it internally, and because it works, we convert to a shared service center, and from 15 people we moved to 55, and we deliver to 7 countries AX implementation and AX and infrastructure maintenance. It was perfect time for IT guys. I don't know what are your experience, but my experience is that the people work in the company where they have a good good job, I mean interesting job, nice projects and big toys, enough toys and fun. So in that time the people were really happy because they were growing personally and also as a team. And because life is changed, so Datart decided to close the shared service center, buy back the share from the financial group and start to develop again the internal IT. So now they have a small internal IT and they do everything internally. And of course, because it's 5 or 7 years, they are thinking about upgrade. So, summary of Datart story. You can see that during the time they move from one position of one scenario to another one. They did the homemade system, they implemented standard and everything was in one system. Then they started implemented many special systems, and now they are thinking what will be the next direction, and I don't know what will be the next direction, we will see. Maybe they go back to the beginning or they will just upgrade AX, but they have to decide. Okay. I am at the end. As I said, that it looks like that for big company, the ERP, the big ERP system is something what is needed, what you have to have it. Even the implementation is complicated. You have to start the road and you have to go there, and then you have to recover and continue your business. Usually the big company decide for big ERP system like SAP, Oracle or AX, and AX is the most flexible. Of course, I have to say something good for AX if we do AX. So AX is also one of them, and my feeling is flexible. Could help a small company as well as the big one.
Okay. So thank you.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.